to another episode of DIOTALK. I'm here. Let's talk. My guest of the evening, he's a producer, he's an actor, he's a filmmaker. Ladies and gentlemen, give a warm welcome to Wade Simmons. Welcome to the show, man. How are you?
Pretty good, man. How you been?
I've been good. I've been good, man. I'm happy you're back on the show. There's so much to discuss. You've been a busy guy.
Yeah.
I'm happy you're here to give us an update. What's going on, man?
Oh man, still filmmaking, still working in the funeral business and working my way back to pro wrestling too. So I've been kind of tied up with a lot of more film stuff lately. I've been kind of more so focused on that because like I'm just trying to grow and expand because it's been almost 9 years that I've been doing it professionally. So it's like it's just kind of time to level up a little bit.
I hear you. Even with this, man, I did this year that passed. I did my first in person interview.
Oh,
Right.
nice.
I saw uploading. I mean, updating. Equipment, lighting, computer. So like, I get it, man. I get it. You got to invest to grow.
Yeah, and progress is a beautiful thing. It's like because like you spend so much time and like a lot of time just trying to perfect what you do. And of course, starting out is not going to be perfect all the way, but you just keep working until you get it to where you want to be. But along the way, a lot of times you start picking up things that you never thought that you would, end up doing. So it's like, yeah, a lot has kind of happened, man. Metamorphosis, a lot of changes, but it's part of growth.
I hear that, man. I mean, for me, like, I was just thinking about this like 2 hours ago. I was driving back home from work, and for me, I guess this is like the has been the hardest year. For the first, it's been 4 years, right? But January of this upcoming January makes five. And the first year was tough because I got a lot of no, right? But then out of nowhere, once I released, I want to say 15 episodes and it started picking up, people started saying yes. And I never really had cancellation. But this year, I've had so much, but it's been also challenging life, you know, in general.
Yeah,
But I still feel blessed. And it's one of those things like you can't quit. Like, my laptop crashed on me on one of my latest interviews. I need a new laptop. My mic stopped working. My desk broke in half. you know,
man.
my lighting started to flicker and it burned out. And I feel like these are just trials and tribulations that God puts in our way because He's leveling up for the next step. And so,
Absolutely. And it's man, we
so
got a lot to
yeah,
talk about, man,
yeah,
because everything that you said, I kind of been in the same situation. Like
yeah.
last year, I started my own mortuary removal company because I finally did. I don't know if I had got my license yet when I talked to you, but I finally was able to get through that test that I was trying to pass. But,
Mm.
and then after getting through the test, I still had to wait like almost over a year just for my license to come because I filled out for my license back in 23 of May, 2023 in May, and I didn't get them till like last February. And then even though I had them, I still had, I was going back and forth between Missouri and Illinois because I got married. My wife, she's from Missouri, so we
Oh,
come back and
congrats,
forth. So
congrats, my brother.
yeah, man, yeah, that happened in 2023. So like my life has been like totally different, but it's like, and then like for most of last year, I did like get like four films done, but I think I only put out one of them. The other two still kind of got to need a little more work,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
so it's like, but basically I've been more so just kind of focused on being a husband, trying to build, trying to get life situated and navigating. It's just ups and downs of life. And then my grandfather, he passed away in January.
Oh man,
I think it was January 2nd. So that was kind of a big adjustment because like my grandma, she's at the house by herself now. So, I'm kind of back and forth with her a little bit. So it's a lot, it's a lot of difference, but change is a part of life. And I feel like you said, a lot of times, we don't know where God is always taking us, but we just trust that, He's gonna work it out in the best way for us. And so to me, I just been trying to grow as a filmmaker, be a better person, be a better husband, be a better friend, Just just do the best that I can. So I've been more focused on that, man, to be honest with
Man to that, man. I'm into that, man. Same here. It's when you said 9 years in the making, right? Everything you've been doing, man. I feel that because in the world we're in, it's kind of like it's not iffy. It's weird, you know.
you. Yeah,
Like there's so many people doing the same thing that even though you're doing different, it's hard to stand out
absolutely.
for from like the plethora or like the oceans of so many people doing the same thing,
Man, you know what? It's like,
right?
I don't know, man. We must be twins because everything that you just said, like I was literally just thinking about that, like how like there's so much stuff in the bottom of the ocean that we never seen before. And it's just like that's how wide the talent world is right
Yeah,
now, right? There's so many talented people out here that are almost everybody's doing the same thing and everybody's because again all of us because I feel like God is a creator, right, and we're made in his image,
yeah,
and so I think that it's only natural for all humanity to want to be creative, like even the people who don't consider themselves to be content creators. All of us are creative in some ways. We're made in God's image, and so I feel like a lot of more people because of like social media and things are embracing that. And I think that it's kind of a beautiful thing. I think that it's a beautiful thing because everybody has a talent, but it's just, and put it like this: the people who market themselves the best, sometimes those are the people who probably, get a little more notoriety or whatever. But I think it's just good to just have fun with what you're doing. Like, whether you got 10 people watching you or you got 10 million watching you, like I think that it's to me it's more about creating the things that you like and putting it out there for the people that it matters for.
I
I
get it,
think that
man.
that's to me is the best thing that you can do.
Do what you love. I think for me, I love the process. I love being able to sit and have a conversation about what a person's doing to what the person's doing to inspire them, right? And hear them talk about what they love, but also talk about other things that are happening in life, and not just the same propaganda we see on regular social media or these channels, but life, how we're doing, how we're coping with this new presidency, right? How we coping life after COVID still because we're still feeling the effects,
Absolutely, yeah. It's
um,
it's
hoping after someone we lose in life,
yeah.
you know.
No, you're right, man. Everything has really been totally different because I think that like things haven't really been the same since I want to say like 2020. Like after 2020, it's just like things were already changing, but it's like after COVID and after all this stuff, it's like everything changed from like the church world, the church life, and just work life, family life, because so many people have passed away, and then it's like we're all getting older, we're not getting younger. Like I
Yeah,
said, I'm 33 years old now, man. It's like so it's like time is just moving and it doesn't wait on anybody, and it's like so many people have like passed away, and and like I said, growing up, me, I hung around a lot of older people, so like
same
some of
here.
them have,
Yeah,
thank God some of them are still around and everything, but some of them have went on and went home and, to be with the Lord, things of that nature. But it's like, just things are so different, man. And it's like, I don't know. I think that people just have to, for me, I say that I find, more peace in just staying prayerful, talking to God, reading my Bible, reading my scriptures, and just trusting in the Lord Jesus, man, and just, not letting the small things get me worked up. And then a lot of times, like I focus more on the things that I can control. I don't focus on the things that's beyond my control. And then another thing, like I'm just kind of in a place now where like when I see people fall down and make mistakes in life, like I'm not trying to criticize anybody. Like I just try to do more prayer because like I don't know, peace is a beautiful thing, man.
oh man, preach,
Oh man, peace is a powerful thing. And it's like,
preach.
to me, it's like it's a lot going on in the world, man. And like people are leaving here every day. So it's like, who am I to look at somebody else's failures and mess ups and criticize them? Because at the end of the day, we're all the individuals who have our own life. And we should use that time to, focus on what is beneficial to us, and focus on how to be a better person, to humanity, because it's a lot of messed up stuff going on, man. But also it's a lot of good things going on. So it's just a lot of times, especially in the social media world, a lot of times the negative things, or the bad things, kind of, it kind of
How do you
overshadows
know?
sometimes
How do you
a lot of the
know?
good stuff.
How do you know like the good stuff is happening? And like you live in a world where content is social media, right? And in order, what pays the bills, what makes the money, what makes the cheddar, right? Is drama. It's just drama.
Well,
So like how do you know
I
what's
think
good?
I think to be honest with you, I always remind myself of this one scripture that says, "What profit a man to gain the world but lose his soul?" And I think that a lot of people may not realize this, is that, a lot of times in this world that we live in, it is a reason why it seems like darkness is winning. It's a reason why it seems like if a person just, maybe start talking about more of the wrong type of things, that you get more attention, or it seems to be like more people pay attention to it. But we got to look at it. What does the scripture say? That man loves darkness
Mm-hmm.
rather than light.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that it's one of those things where, like, we just have to all examine ourselves. And for me, like, I just always say, like, you know what, I want to be true to who God called me to be. I want to be who I am. And so I'm not trying to, I don't care anything about having a million followers or a million. Like, you ain't got to follow me. I'm just a human being. Like, if you want to support, I appreciate it. But I'm not really after followers. I'm just more about just creating things that just, spread love to people, and just help people to love one another, because at the end of the day, the world not a bad place. I think it's just like a lot of things that we see, it just stems from a lack of love. Like, even in the political world, right? Like, you got Democrats versus Republicans, Republicans versus Democrats, but all of us are human beings. And I think that, to me, aside from all that other stuff, like, and I understand that everybody have a very different perspective on life. Everybody had, and that's to be respected, because everybody has a valid point about a lot of things. But at the end of the day, it's like, why hate somebody else? Like, the world don't have to be the way that it is. People choose the path of hate. And I think that that's one of the biggest, like, downfalls of the world. Like, even because even in the social media world, like, I noticed, like, when you think about the 10 Commandments, right? Like, there's one commandment that I noticed you don't really hear people talk about a lot, and that's that you're not supposed to bear false witness against your neighbor. And a lot of times, like, when we look at the media world, right? What's in the media, right? It's always some type of bad news about somebody did this or somebody did that.
Agree.
But whole time, real talk, if I wasn't there, I don't know what the next man or woman did. Like, it's not really my concern, not really my business. If they did mess up, they ain't did nothing nobody else ain't did. I mean, for the most part, all of us have maybe made mistakes in life, you know. So life is more about, prioritizing our own life and getting our own self together, because, like I said, any of us can leave here any day at any given time. So
You know
what's
what's
the
funny?
point of really criticizing the next
Mm-hmm.
person?
You know what's funny that I always I've always had this thought, but only until recently I've been actually like preaching it, right? So I've known this for like years, but as of now, I've been living it, right? So like when things, hit the fan and go crazy, people want people want to act, people want to jump, scream, whatever, right? And I'm always like, just do nothing, nothing. When you're in, in that mood or that level, do nothing, because if you're gonna do anything, it's probably not gonna be smart, right, or wise.
Yeah,
So the best thing you can do is nothing,
absolutely.
right? And it sounds
Yeah.
so like,
You know what? You're right though, because, like, I was on a podcast, right, recently.
mm-hmm,
And for the first time, I was actually like, because, again, like, I thank God that, like, I'm still kind of more low key. So, there's a lot of people who don't even know that I exist just as much as there's a lot of people that I don't know they exist. But long as the Lord knows you exist, that's all that matters. But I said all that to say that I think about, like, how a lot of people that are doing, like, big things, whether they're good or bad, you have everybody gets critics. And I look at how like people get these comments and all that stuff, right? And so for the first time today, I was on this one podcast, right, where like they like, they warned me. They like, well, this like our crowd is kind of rough, and I thought it was kind of funny. But I looked at some of the comments. I'm like, wow, like, and the hosts were wonderful people and stuff. But it's like I'm looking at some of the comments. I'm like, wow. But what I kind of got from that was that a lot of times I think that it's a beautiful thing to have a clean mind, because a person with a clean mind doesn't be so quick to think evil about other people. And I think that a lot of people don't realize when you think certain things about other people, sometimes that's really how people think about themselves. And so to me, that's why like I learned is that the mind is a powerful thing. That's why like I always say like for me, if I know that my time is precious, I know that one day, the good Lord gonna call me out of here, preferably when I get much older, Lord willing. But I will say this is that I'm not gonna spend my life 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes that I could have spent doing something that I love. You know what I'm saying? Because again, it's people leaving this world every day. What I'm gonna waste my time for spending time on something that doesn't edify me or helps me in any way. If it's something that I really don't care to see or something that I don't like or somebody mess up, I hope and pray that God will help them to find their purpose and help them to get their life together. But who am I to criticize anybody? Who am I to spend all this time on just running somebody in the ground? Because like really, it's really pointless. And I saw this one young lady on Instagram. No, I don't know her name, but she's really popular, and she's really funny because like sometimes when people troll her, she goes back at them, right? And she told them, she like, look, for every comment y'all give me, I get paid for it, so keep them coming. But I mean, that's a strong sister. But I'm just saying, like, but to me, I'm like, when you really think about it,
But that's
like,
that's the game, right? That's the game. And a lot of like I saw your latest episode, and that's life. That's value. Doesn't have drama. Doesn't have negative. It's just life is flowing. Whether it's a negative or positive, it's just flowing. It's just positive energy. But then you go in real life, and that's the game. Your
yeah,
content will outlast for 10 or 20 years when once it like gets the proper use. Because you got to remember, in our in our field, we're only one share away from fucking progress, whatever. Um, from becoming millionaires or trillionaires or whatever, finding that success that will help us either financially or spiritually, right? And you see all everybody on social media is instant gratification. It's something that's not going to last the test of time because you're going through the trend.
yeah.
Like I like your latest one was so beautiful because it's not a trend. It's something that you can sit and enjoy and assure, but yet you can picture a good life, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and I mean, to me, you got to stay true to who God called you to be, right? Like, it's like, you don't want to take your talent and hide it. Like, again, like I say, I don't profess my work to be perfect, but I enjoy what I do, and I try not to make the same type of things that everybody else make. Like, I think it's okay to be unique. It's okay to be different, and it's okay to have your own form of art because I embrace filmmaking from an artistic point of view, and it's not necessarily about trying to be stereotypical, or it's not about trying to copy what I see or even trying to follow a trend, right? Because I understand why people follow trends, because a lot of times the algorithm kind of helps you out, give you a little push. But to me, it's like, hey, the work is for whoever wants to view it. Like, it may not be for everybody, but it's
Mm-hmm.
for those who get encouraged by it and for those who value it. And and I just tend to focus on that, man, because to me that's more valuable than anything, because that's the thing, right? You don't want to get caught up in trying to conform your art and change it because you think it'll get you a bigger following and all that. Because I think to me, you got to stay true to who you are as an artist. And I think that that's a beautiful thing. Like I look around, like I see like Snoop Dogg, he's working on his second gospel album. I think that's pretty dope, man. I think that sometimes a lot of people may kind of look at that a little bit differently, but I think everybody got a right to lift up God, man. Everybody got a right to, to appreciate what Jesus did for humanity. So I don't find fault with anything. Like, to me, I think that people have a right to express their gratitude for their creator. And to me, I think to me, I celebrate it. Like, I think that it's okay for people as an artist to embrace things that are really, past things that they're passionate about. Because, like, to me, why try to be somebody else? Why try to be like this art? Like, it's already enough of certain type of artists. So, like, people can be unique and be themselves, man. And I think, like, sometimes I feel like some artists kind of even regret sometimes when they kind of have to change their work and make it like this, because it's not what they probably intended on, but for marketing purpose and for gain, it has to become something different. But again, it's like, to me, I just think that you got to stay true to who you are, man. And I think, to me, that's the best way. And it's peaceful. It's peaceful because you're not making it. To me, I'm not making anything to get a big following. I make what I make because I enjoy it. Like I said, I don't care if it's 4 people watching. If it's 4 people, I thank God for the 4 people. If it's 6 million, I thank God for 6 million. But it's all about doing it because I enjoy what I do. And like I said, it's nice to have people appreciate your work. It's nice to be known and celebrated for your work, but it's not the if all be all.
Yeah, it's not the end of
Like I
the
said,
world.
whether it's 4 or 5 people, it don't make me the difference.
I don't know, man. God bless you. Because I would like to go to a certain level that I can live off what I'm doing. I don't care
Yeah,
about the following. I don't care about the awards, even though I've been honored winning, back to back.
congratulations. Yeah,
Thank Appreciate it. But I think that's what makes it difficult for somebody like me. That we
yeah,
don't, I don't. There's no pleasure in winning awards and getting a booth or getting applause, because when you sit down and really see what the world's become, like I see what you applaud to. I don't want none of it. It's not who I
yeah.
am. I am a father first. I'm a husband second. Well, first I'm submitted to God. That's first. Father second, husband third. And I don't pertain myself to joining any religion, because I don't believe in man-made religion. I
I
do
got you.
believe in God,
Yeah, I
Jesus, and the
got you.
Holy Spirit. You know,
Yeah,
and I think it's difficult for me because I don't pledge with people of pledging in these trends. But I believe in, like, why am I gonna die on a hill when I have to climb a mountain and have the overview of everything, and not to say I'm seeing, but try to understand one another, see where we're coming from.
yeah,
Where's the disconnect,
yeah.
right?
I yeah, and I think that's a beautiful thing, man. Because, like, people, that's the thing, right? It's good to find connection, and it's good to talk to people. Because, again, it's like a lot of times, sometimes you got to hear people out. And I learned that because if you talk to 7 different people, all 7 of those people may share some similar point of views, but they're all different. And so that's why, like, to me, I've always found it an interesting, like, in society, how, like, me, I'm a person that, like, again, I love when people ask a lot of questions, because I think that those are great things, because a lot of times there's a lot of questions that all of us have. And I think one question to me about, like when I look at life and I think about how we put, like, labels on people, race, religion, things of that nature. But if you have a group of people that's in the same religion, even within the people who believe in God, everybody believes, but a lot of people still have a different concept of who God is. Even with the Bible, right? Like, some people look at it like this way. Some people look at it like that way. Some people read the Bible and they might, they get something from one story, even though it's a historical book. You know, it is a great book. It's a book that I believe and I cherish very dearly. But I mean, again, when you talk to so many people, right, everybody still, even with the same book, people have a very different concept of things. And so I think that that's really the one unique thing about being a human being is like I do believe that there's no private interpretation, but I do say that people have a very different concept because again, you can talk to people who are in the same religion or the same political party, and
They still
we
have
may
different
have
beliefs.
some similar beliefs, but we're still all different individuals. And so, me, I treat people as individuals. I don't really try to put people in groups too much because if you talk to people one on one, you'll find that everybody has a very different perspective on a lot of things. And so, to me, that's why, like I say, I look at the world and it's sad to me sometimes when people are fighting against one another because a lot of times you're fighting about this and that, but it's like you don't even really know the people that you're fighting against. You know, you're just fighting against a group, but you don't know the individuals in the group. And I think that it's just so weird to me because, like, when you get to know people, sometimes you'll find out, oh, this actually is a cool person.
Yeah,
This young lady's pretty cool. This guy's pretty cool. Like, so to me, I try not to, you know, um, stereotype people, or I try not to put people in a box because I've talked to all different kinds of people, and you know, uh, maybe some people may say good or bad, but I talk to all kinds of people, and I try to get to know people because a lot of times everybody has a story, and everybody is, even though we're all unique, we're all different. And this is funny because there was another filmmaker. Me and this one filmmaker in school, we used to have this one debate because she used to always say we're all the same, and I used to always say yes, in a sense, but everybody is an individual. And so one day she's just like, yeah, but we're the same. And I said, well, the fact that you believe that and the fact that I believe this shows that we're both different. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, we are the same in the fact that we're human beings and we may have some similarities. And I respect her point of view on that. But everybody still is different. And so to me, because like I said, if you put 1,000 people in a room and asked everybody, what is your favorite color, red or blue? Some people gonna slide over the blue. Some people gonna slide over the red. Then you say, what's your favorite team? The Lakers or the Cleveland Cavaliers? And then some people probably gonna go with the Lakers. Some people gonna go. Some people may say, no, I like the Mavericks. I like the Bulls. So even within people having the same interest, their interest is still different.
yeah,
I mean, everything about each individual is not the same. So to me, I try not to again assume anything about people because again, you can have a group of people that believe the same thing on one issue, but then they're totally different about this. And so
it's
if you
like,
look at society and you look at like a lot of the articles we read about people, like a lot of the political articles, right? Like I love when the president say that's fake news, but but when you think about it, it's like when you look at the media, right? The media kind of sometimes twist things. And if a person is this way, then they'll write this about a person and
mm-hmm,
try to make a person seem bad or this or that. But the truth be told is that you have to treat people as individuals because if we don't treat people as individuals, then we all gonna be lost. And the reason why I say we all gonna be lost because we don't understand. Because again, it goes back to my favorite one of the principles in the Bible that we don't talk about a lot is to not bear false witness against your neighbor. So it's like if I say like I'm a Chicago Bears fan,
mm-hmm,
and then you say, well, I like the Lions or whatever. And then I'm like, okay, well, Chicago my team. You say, no, the Lions my team, man. But at the same time, we might like different teams. And then there's a lot of people that like the same team I like. A lot of people like saying, but then at the end of the day, some of the people are still they're different from you.
yeah, yeah,
They might say, well, I like this quarterback, and you say, nah, he ain't that good. I like that quarterback. Or maybe you might say, well, I like this team, but I wouldn't mind if this team wins. So everybody's different. And to me, it's like, that's why, again, I say, like, I do not like to put people in a box. I do not like to even really put people in groups. Like, I know the world did that years ago and kind of, for social reasons, put people in class and all this stuff. But all that stuff really don't mean nothing. We all human beings. And the only thing that really matters is how you see yourself and how God see you. Because people can look at you, or we can look at people and say, "Oh, this, and that," but we don't even know them. You know.
yeah, mental that, mental that, 100%. But that's life. People, your opinion is based on the eye of the beholder, right? because even good is an opinion.
Absolutely.
So like it's we're all the same, but at the same time we're not.
Yeah.
So it's like you said, you gotta treat everybody as an individual. It's like wrestling. The constant debate, is it real, is it fake? No, it's fake, it's real. Like, look at the story. Why don't you
Yeah.
look at the story?
And
You
like,
know,
yeah. And
like, does it move you? Does it inspire you? Like, I remember when I first laid eyes on Stone Cold Steve Austin. From that moment until my present day, that's my attitude. That's my persona. I would not hesitate and Stone Cold thunder my ball.
yeah.
I would not hesitate. But everyone has one has a view. Everyone wants to have an opinion, but all of them want to be valued.
Yeah. But you know what? I'm I'm always careful of even my own opinions. And the reason why I always say that is I always remember one thing, that there's a difference between a fact and an opinion.
Mm,
And me, I always say that, like, my opinion, it may matter to me, but my opinion of someone doesn't determine their reality,
yeah,
and their opinion of me doesn't determine my reality. So it's like, a lot of times I just try to always, just wish everybody the best, man. And just, if God put it in your heart to pray for people, man, just pray for them. Cause, it's, this world, all of us need God in our life, man. All of us need Christ, man. I mean,
not
and to
every.
me, I know that everybody may not believe the same thing. That's what I believe. But I'll just say, man, that, we're all trying to find our way, man. And I never try to look down on people, because again, man, you look at it like, it's for the grace of God, man. I wouldn't be where I am. So who am I to look down on anybody? So I just always try to, give people that time to grow and just respect everybody. Cause that's the thing, again, once again, like, I don't care who a person is, what they believe, like, we all can still love and respect one another and appreciate one another. And again, we may not always agree on everything, but again, I mean, that's really all of us, because again, like, even if you look at, like I always say, the political world, right? Like, there are so many different parties like that we don't even talk about either, and everybody's just not the same. And so I just think it's kind of sad when people are just so divided over, because it's like, when you think about division can really cause a lot of bad things. And I think, because when you think about it, when people are divided, it's like issues keep just causing more divisions, you know, just as quickly as some opinions can unite people. So it's just like, like, to your point about the world, like, a lot, because like, I was just looking at an article earlier today. They were talking about, like, this was allegedly, statistically though, that they were saying that a lot of young people are, like, depressed and sad and miserable. And and like I said, I can't say that I can, allude to that, but I will say that I think some people's anxiety may be coming from, like, social media. Sometimes people look at it and be like, man, they think that, they see people going out of town a lot and living up and having a good time and stuff like that. And I travel a lot myself, but at the end of the day, you should never really compare your life to anybody else's life, because at the end of the day, beyond all that stuff, you don't know what's going on in their life.
I
And
think I think
everybody has
I
stuff
think
going
it.
on.
Yeah, I think it's the depression is not because they want to live their life, but because they want to have a life.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like because there's everything is like financial is bad
Yeah.
for everyone. Everyone is going through
Yeah, absolutely, man. And
it,
then
and
you look at, like, the
you
cost,
yeah,
the
the
cost
cost
of
of
living
living,
is,
right?
yeah,
But
man. It's,
but think
man.
about it. You're also going to jobs that, or you're working with people that already miserable,
Hmm.
or you're working with people that are trying to be all happy and perky, but they know it's BS. They can't tolerate the censorship that they're providing to life.
Yeah,
And they want to yell, they want to scream, they want to curse, they want to punch a wall. That's the majority of what we're living. It's that
yeah,
we're constantly holding back, and yet we don't know what we're holding back.
yeah. But you
We're
know what? But I
holding back.
also think,
Mm,
that's why, as people, we need to understand that being able to uplift each other and being able to help one another. Like that's the one thing that I still feel like is how we've been around for like thousands of years and all that, right? I think the one thing that had like, we look at like right now, we're living in this social media age. We got technology, we got all these ways of how we can connect with one another. But I think it goes back to your point of saying that like, yes, it is a lot of positive things going on in the world, but it's like it gets overshadowed by the good things. Well, it gets overshadowed. The good things get overshadowed by the bad thing. We wish the good would overshadow the bad, but to your point, like it's like basically what I'm saying is this: is that when you got a whole lot going on in the world, right? I feel like in all these years that civilization has become so modern and all this technology and stuff, we're coming up with AI and all these different things. But the one thing that I wish that humanity would do a little bit better with is having love for one another. Absolutely. And you're
And
right.
if I can't lift myself up, I can't continue to try to lift you up if you want to be lifted up. I
Absolutely.
can't love you if I don't know how to love myself.
Absolutely. Yeah,
You
you're
know,
right.
we live in there's generation trauma,
Yeah.
but there's also, hey man, you're a grown up. Time to get your shit together.
You're right.
You can't, you're at the point where like, you couldn't do nothing because you were young and you were a child. But this is the time to do something. What are you
Absolutely.
doing?
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like to me, that's the real like superpower of humanity, right? Is to be uplifting and to be there for one another and to be supportive to one another and to be a helping hand to one another. Because to me, it's like, again, the world is not a bad place. Sometimes it's the choices that us human beings make. And I think that like, if we saw more people being kind to one another and helping one another and being loving. But that's in a perfect world because we know that that's just not, you already know somebody driving, trying to get to work, rushing speeding down, they're gonna get somebody finger, cut somebody out,
You
all
guys,
that great. Yeah,
you
it's
know,
like
like my wife, yesterday, she's been telling me, why are you asking questions? You ask so many questions. Nah, yeah, I told her. I told her, but do I ask the right question? She looked at me. Said, you do. I always got mad. Sometimes you need to ask the right question to like trigger that thought process. For me, it
yeah,
was like when I first got married. It was tough. Never been a husband, never been a father. It's easy for yourself, but it's hard now you provide it for others, right? And um, what really triggered me was I stopped asking myself, I stopped telling myself, I can't. And started asking myself, how can I? Reverse the question, I can't do this, reverse it. How can I? You trial and error everything. You're not to you're not meant to succeed in everything. You need to fail. The problem is that some of us fail when we stay there and we give up or we just move on. Some of us will fail and continue moving forward. And a lot of us, we tend to, it's like, it's like a canvas, right? A white canvas is just the foundation. It's just to give you a starting. Once you paint the brush on that canvas, you put yellow, red, and start painting and forming some type of identity in that canvas, you become limitless
hmm
because all you needed was starting. But once you reach that starting point, everything else is you're really free.
hmm
You're really free. You got to figure it out.
yeah. But like it comes. But that's why I say that everything to me, it just really come down to love. Because when you think about a lot of the issues that we have in humanity, right? Like with the work world, from drugs to guns to violence to homelessness. And, a lot of this stuff just stems from a lack of love. And like I said, I'm not, trying to say anything like necessarily bad about anybody, but it's like if we all had a little more love in our heart for one another, you know, I think we would really see like things flourish a lot better, you know. But when the heart of people is not right, you know, a lot of times it just, you know, and it's like, you know, I don't look down on my young brothers and sisters because it's like, you know, because like I put it like this, like it's like basically all of us are human beings. All of us kind of would like to have a better life for ourselves, you know. So sometimes people in this world they do what they have to do to make it for their family. You know what I'm saying?
Isn't it good if you took out the social media aspect of people like living the dream? Is our life really that fast?
I think I think that it's a beautiful thing to see people happy. I mean, to me,
Yeah.
I don't necessarily look at it as a bad because I never look at somebody and say, "Oh my God, like I want, like I don't want anybody else's life. I'm sure nobody wants mine." You know what I'm saying? Like I'm happy when I see people happy. Generally, I love seeing people happy. You know, I mean, they may not really be happy. I don't know, but I genuinely love. I would rather see people happy than see them crying. You know what I'm saying? And to me, when I get it, like, you know, because again, I like seeing people have joy in their heart and excited about life and, you know, trying to do something to get themselves. Because again, like, you know, we ain't doing nobody no favors by taking care of what we had to, because that's just part of life. You know what I'm saying? We have to do what we have to do. But it's just like, you know, I'm not one of the people that like, I would never want to see nobody miserable and depressed and sad and just, you know, I mean, if God bless me with resources where I can be a blessing to other people, then, you know, as I choose to, as being led by the Holy Spirit, then, you know, it's a blessing to be able to help people, you know, and I look at it like, you know, I think that's really more what we need in the world, you know, like, because again, like I said, we are capable of doing a whole lot of things, and we're capable of doing, you know, good and evil. I mean, I put it like this: everybody has a choice, but to me, it's like, you know, why not just choose to be a blessing to your brothers and sisters, and if you can help each other, because that's the thing of the world, right? It's like, again, it's not the world, like it's not guns, it's not, you know, a lot of these things, it's the heart of people that makes things bad. And so I think that if us as people do better, like I said, we can't control what everybody do, but if we just keep on uplifting one another and just, you know, just try to encourage people to choose a better path, man, then that's about all we can do. Help point them to Christ or something, you know. But that's all. I mean, like again, everybody has a choice, but to me, it's like, you know, choosing joy is a powerful thing, man. It is, you know. It doesn't mean that you don't have trials and tribulations, because all of us go through it, you know. And I always say life is not fair, but it is what we make it, you know. And I think that that's like really the best way I can describe it, because again, it's some crazy things that happen in life to people, and again, everybody get hits with trials and tribulations. That's why I always say, like, we can't look at somebody's life like, oh my God, like, man, this person got money. If I had that much money, I wouldn't have. No, like, it's no. Everybody has problems. Whether you got $1 million in your bank account or you got $0, I mean, everybody has problems, because that's part of being human.
It's face
You know, it's
unloving.
just,
Everybody
yeah.
has a lover. I said
It's
you
part
nothing.
of being human.
I said you nothing. You know,
I
because
mean, look,
everything will pass.
absolutely. Look, I've had pocket full of money. I've had no money in my pocket, but guess what? When I did have a pocket full of money, I still had problems. So, hey, so what?
Right.
That's it. Like, you know, it's life. And so to me, I just thank God that I have, you know, Jesus Christ in my life, man, because to me that makes a big difference for me. And like I said, man, it's a powerful thing, because we have to understand, like, you know, that, like, we put it like this, like, you know, we're in the NBA playoff season, right? Like, we don't have home court advantage in this world. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
We don't have, but you know, the Holy Spirit in us, it helps us to overcome whatever this world throws at us. And so to me, I just, like, you know, just hold on to the sayings of Jesus Christ, man, is that, hey, he overcame the world. So, and hey, let your light shine, man. And so to me, it's just all about always glorifying God and just having love in your heart for people, because whether people believe or not, I believe that all of us are made in the image of the Most High God. So it is my duty and obligation to treat everybody with the utmost respect, you know. I'm not looking down on nobody because of status, whether known, unknown, doesn't really make a difference, because everybody is made in the image of God. And so to me, everybody is somebody, you know. I mean, whether you got 6 million followers or you ain't even on social media, everybody matters. You know, if you matter to God, you matter to me. That's how I look at it. But it's, you know, it's a beautiful thing. Like I said, but I really love seeing people happy, man. I don't like seeing people sad or depressed or miserable. You know, I don't get a kick out of it. Like when and even when I see people fighting and hurting one another, right? Like I don't think that it's funny. I don't think, you know, because it's like, you know, at the end of the day, like, you know, a lot of people have like basically thrown their life away for something that sometimes just, you know, could have been resolved a little differently, you know. And it's just like, come on now, you know. Like I love my cousin, man, and you know, he got into a little situation and it didn't end up well and somebody, you know, man, it just didn't end up well. And it's like, man, you know, sometimes you wish a different route could have been taken, but you know, but again, that just comes to just, you know, you got to know where your real power lies, man. And again, I always say, man, you know what? We wrestle not against flesh and blood, man, but against principalities, man. And so, you know, spiritual wickedness in high places. And so I look at it like, you know, we're not each other's enemies, man. It's just, you know, sometimes it takes growth to realize that, you know.
It's like if an apple is amongst other apples and the apple's rotten, it's gonna rot everything else.
Yeah,
You know, everyone has their expiration date in
absolutely.
a relationship, in a marriage, and friendships, at a job. And you sometimes you gotta do. You can't save everyone,
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I
right?
put it like this, man. Even Jesus on the cross, right, man, or the stake, or the tree, whatever people want to call it. But you know, like this, everybody just have a choice, you know. And I think that's the beautiful thing about life too, is that we all have a choice, you know. And so when we look at life, you know, we can't really blame anybody else for life turning out like this or like that, because again, life is not fair, but it is what we make it. And so it's just how we like navigate through the unfairness, man. And that's the thing. That's a story every day. That's why I always say, like, I look at life like I'm enjoying the journey, as my friend John always say. I'm enjoying the journey. I ain't really thinking about a destination, you know. I
Yep.
treat it as a journey, man, because every day the journey is different, you know.
Mhm. What do you got working? What's next for you?
So right now I'm in the process of just growing my web series. I'm actually working on the documentary too about my web series. I screened
Nice.
a documentary 2 years ago at the Music Box Theater here in Chicago, and it turned out pretty well. Had a nice turnout, and so you know the film didn't quite get finished the way that I wanted it to, but I'm actually reworking that documentary. And then I'm also working on a new web series that I'm working on called I Love You So Much with a new actress by the name of Rihanna. So I'm excited about that, man. It just like I said, I feel like my mission is to promote love and possibly start making documentaries, man. So that's what I'm sticking with, man. I'm not trying to be like anybody else. I'm just trying
Any
to be who God made me, man.
future like any particular documentaries you would like to work in?
Actually, I'm actually literally working on a documentary about me training for professional wrestling when I did. So I'm trying to finish that up. I have got some progress made, but it's not quite there yet, but it's getting there. But hopefully I can put it out because you know how filmmaking goes sometimes. Like
Hmm.
you make it, you shoot it, you put it together. Sometimes you're like, need a little more work, but it's okay. You know, it's like life. I always say filmmaking is like life, you know. You're always trying to perfect it a little more, you know. If you don't get it right today, hopefully God willing, we get it right tomorrow, you know.
Yeah. And wrestling, so you're back in the ring or
I
in
haven't been
progress?
back yet, but I'm working my way back to it, you know. But funny story, my wife actually, they were telling me her my wife's cousin, Tracy, my cousin through my wife, she like she kept telling me, we got a cousin, we want you to meet her. And she wrestling. And I'm like, okay. And when I met her, I said, oh, that's Big Swole. Okay, I know her. Yeah, she wrestled in AEW. And so like it's kind of nice to know that we got some family in the business a little bit. So I think that's pretty cool, you know.
Awesome.
Like I didn't see that one coming, but like I said, it's nice to have people that can relate to you, and you know you kind of know what kind of know their journey in the business, and you learn what they went through, and they can share tips with you. But I think it's nice, man. Like again, you never know how life is gonna go and things of that nature. But you know, you just meet people along the way and just, you just appreciate people. But I always say everybody is somebody.
Yeah. What can people find your web series?
You can find me on Vimeo, Wade Filmmaker 777 on Vimeo. I'm starting to use Instagram a little more because I don't know. I don't know why I wasn't using it like I could have been, but I'm
Hmm.
using it now and I'm trying to use it in a positive light. And I'm also in the process of starting a newsletter with a friend of mine by the name of Jennifer, that, young lady that was so kind to interview me, and we just kind of bonded. And so we're kind of partnering together to try to put more positive news out because I didn't get a chance to share this, but for the last few years, I have been kind of talking to the news media a lot because from me working in the funeral business, I get so tired of seeing like a lot of young black Latinos. Like you hear their stories get told when tragedy happens. You see a lot of young black and Latinos and even whites. Like, everybody matters, but like there's so many talented people in this world that's doing powerful. But like, why do you always only hear about people in tragedy? And so to me, I kind of challenge the news on that a little bit, like. And so I'm like, that's the news. They gonna do what they do. They gonna keep, doing whatever they do. That's their job. But I'm like, you know what? Why don't we actually just start a good news media? So I kind of played around with that idea kind of like last year. And then when I met Jennifer, she hit me with the idea like, why not just start a good news media? And like, I'm like, you know what? You must be God sent because guess what? I was thinking about that. And now, so we're actually in the process of working on that. And we're supposed to be filming our very first episode this coming Sunday. So I think that's going to be pretty dope, man. I'm excited because again, man, we can't control what everybody do, but we can continue to spread the love and share the good things going on because there's a lot of good people out here doing good things. And so, hey, let's try to, show people some good stuff. Like everything don't have to always be us fighting each other and cussing each other out and all this drama and all that. Like, okay, it happens. We're human and it happens, but let's try to do a little bit better.
Um, that's awesome. I can't wait, man. I can't wait.
Yeah, man.
That's
Yeah, and
a
a matter of fact, and I
beautiful
would like
thing.
to hopefully invite you to be a part of it too when you can sometimes,
Yes,
man, because
man.
it's
Well,
about because it's like it's about growth, and I'm like, you know what? Again, we can't control what everybody else do, and I get it, and like I said, I ain't mad at nobody. Look, I get it. I understand we all are different. We all see
listen,
things
man. You ain't
different,
gotta worry
but
about that. You have to keep your head down and invest in yourself.
absolutely,
And it'll take some time. Right now, our YouTube channel got 10K. 10K. Keep your head down. Keep doing your own thing. And slowly here and there, you gotta invest in advertisement. You gotta promote
yeah,
yourself. If you focus on like me in YouTube, invest advertising through there. You have Facebook, same thing. But you gotta invest in yourself.
I
Keep doing
appreciate
what
that,
yeah,
man.
keep doing what you're doing. You know, like you have to be realistic too. Like in the time we're in, there's no thing as organic viewership. There's nothing like that. You know, people are not gonna follow you just because that's over. The algorithm, if you're not consistent with the algorithm, it's not going to push your things out.
Yeah, I
So the
got you.
best two things you can do is find some type of consistency and routine. Two, advertise yourself on the whatever platform you're using so you can grow. That's what I did because if you really want to grow, you really want to put the message out there, love. It's not gonna. You're not gonna grow with the people in your surroundings. You gotta touch other places.
Absolutely.
Like I'm in New Jersey. Where you're from? Chicago. I've spoken to people from Puerto Rico, Florida, Los Angeles. I got a gentleman coming soon this week from Ireland.
Oh, nice,
I have this other gentleman from Greece,
nice.
London, Wales. You know, globally.
Yeah,
You know, and they've seen my stuff on Facebook because I uploaded the energy you to share, and they reach out. And sometimes we can't rearrange it. We wait for later. We get it done. Reschedule. We get it done. Like, But the only thing you quitting in anything, it promises you that nothing's gonna happen. That's the,
Absolutely.
that's the only guarantee. So like
Yeah.
you gotta invest in yourself.
Man, I appreciate that.
Yeah, man, because
You make me think about that one verse in the Snoop Dogg song. I think it's called "I'm Coming Back," and he say, "Take a chance on yourself like I did on me." I like
yeah,
that. You got to
listen,
take a chance on yourself,
I
man.
don't, I'm a person, I'm a man that before I promote an episode, I have to make sure my household is good. But sometimes I'll promote, sometimes I not. I don't. But when I have, I promote and I've seen myself grow. But you gotta invest in yourself. It's like if you need a new camera, if you need a new mic, you need a new laptop, even if you need one of those pads for your mouth, you have to invest in yourself. You can't
Absolutely.
wait for others to invest in you.
I agree, and I like it, man. I
You know?
appreciate that word of wisdom, man, because you actually right about that because people really ain't gonna believe in you. You don't believe in yourself. And I think that that's the key thing is like, you have to love what you do enough to, like, as they say, put your money where your mouth is. You gotta invest because like you're saying that like, the world isn't looking for me. It's not looking for you. But thing is, we continue to just, as we're led to continue to just put ourselves out there, man. It just, hopefully people gravitate toward it if they want to. But nevertheless, if you don't put yourself in a position to do that, by using your own
Hey,
resources, for me
listen,
to say,
listen to it. Write this down. Write this down, right? You're either the opportunity or you're waiting for the opportunity.
yeah,
Who do you want to be?
I already be the
Especially,
opportunity.
especially in a world in where everyone is doing the same thing.
Absolutely.
And I'm sorry to say this, like not everybody is meant to do the same thing. That is true of the reality. They're just doing it because everybody else is doing it, and they want to make some type of easy money. But those who stay strong in that path that's difficult will persevere in the end. Will be able to enjoy the fruits of their labor. So the simple fact is that whatever you do will outlast all of those who are just half-assing just to make a quick dollar. Because it's easy to pull you in and say it's difficult to push you away. The true maturity, right? Being mature is understanding your oh God, what is it? Your responsibilities while attending your obligation. And you have to be the balance, the present balance in your life.
Yeah,
And that's reality. Because you're not gonna stop being a husband. You're not gonna stop being a provider. You're not gonna see you're a good brother, good friend, you're not. But you have to invest in yourself to grow, and you can't rely on others. And sometimes,
that's true.
like the pain of regret, is less than the pain of success. Because at least when you're going in this pain, you're making something happen. But you sit there and regret, like, what then? What if?
Yeah,
I rather, try to do something, and at least I tried. But I won't sit there and regret saying that what if, and that's what a lot of like it's a whole psychological thing. It's insane,
yeah,
but like I said before, you have to be guided by faith rather than by action. Because some those actions will take an eternity. It'll feel like an eternity. So you just have to have enough faith and faith in yourself to keep it going. And if it makes you
absolutely.
happy, like you look at this conversation, man, flowing. If I were to go, if it would pay me to do a job and injure people, I'll be fucking living. Part of my life. Because it's not the same. You know, talking to people that are trying to think in their head to give you the right answer. There's no such thing as a right answer. And that's the
Yeah,
truth. There's either say what you have to say or say what I want you to say.
yeah, that's true.
So you gotta keep pushing.
Yeah,
You gotta keep doing what you love and be disciplined. Treat it like a job. Because
Yeah.
if you over, and that's why I think that this year has been so difficult for me, is because I'm, like when I'm sad, I work. When I'm depressed, I'm work. When I'm angry, I work. I put my energy in doing things that hopefully one day will be productive. Sit there, mope around, and lose time that I can't get back. And it's been, the downfall of that is that, I've been exhausted. I've been tired. I've been, oh, but I rather try to do something productive than sit there and wallow for something that will pass.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, because time waits on none of us, man. It's always moving, whether we like it or not. Whether we being productive or being slothful, it's constantly moving. So we gotta always, not take it for granted. And like you said, keep grinding, keep shining, and keep just doing our thing. Because, and like I said, it's not to compare ourselves to anybody else, but to just focus on the craft and getting better. Because that's my whole thing too. Is like, you just can't afford to stop. Like, sometimes when you're doing things, it might seem like you're going in a circle, but what you do is you keep working toward what you were doing, but you learn how to do it better. And then you learn how to be more effective with it. And then you learn, well, okay, it's time for me to start getting some different results. So let me try this. Let me put a little more money over here. Let me put a little more money. Because again, it's all trial and error.
Yeah.
And like you said, just stay original, stay unique, and be yourself. Don't try to conform to what other people are doing. Let them do them. Celebrate them if they're doing something good. Be happy for them, but keep doing what you're doing and be unique, be original. I love it.
Um, Before we go, please tell people to find you.
All right. Again, you can find me on Vimeo, Wade Filmmaker 777 on Vimeo. You can also find me on Instagram, Wade Jedi 99, always on the light side of the force, baby. And then, if you want to look me up on Facebook, Wade Simmons, feel free to reach out. You message me anything. I talk to anybody. Look, I love everybody. So, hey, feel free to reach out if you want to.
So I want to do something different. I want you to see if you could bless us with a prayer before we end the show.
Sure. Well, eternal God and our Father, we thank you for your grace and mercy. We thank you for your loving kindness. We thank you, Lord, for even allowing us to unite again. We're grateful for this day, Lord, because you didn't have to let us do it, oh God, but we thank you that you did. We thank you, Lord, for even the people who have created social media, because if it was not for them doing this, we wouldn't even be able to do this. So we thank you for just giving us the insight, oh God, and the wisdom to be able to come together for this good occasion. I thank you for my brother allowing me on this platform today. I ask that you bless him. I thank you for his family, his wife. Continue to bless them, oh God. Let your grace and mercy be upon them, oh God. And we thank you, oh God, for all of our brothers and sisters, and even those who don't believe, oh God. We just pray that you would continue to cover them, oh God. And we thank you for this day. Be with us this day, oh God. Remember your mercy, oh God. And remember your people here and everywhere, all throughout the globe, oh God. And we ask this prayer in the mighty name of Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
Hey, that was, make sure you go follow him. Make sure you go support him. Go check out his shows. Uh, and yeah, make sure you follow us on Instagram, Mr.2510. Go like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, DIOTALK TV. We're growing. We're take, and please like and subscribe and share our content to continue to provide you with these amazing individuals like Wade here. Share his story, share his journey, and help support his content, help support his dreams, which is the most important thing, right? We're all entrepreneurs. We're all dreamers trying to better ourselves, improve the things in our surroundings, and leave this world in a better place than it was given to us. So I'm out, guys. Have a good night.